Hi everyone. So today in this video I'd like to talk about 3 extremely important things that you should know if you're going to be out here even visiting for long term or living out here in the Philippines. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today is dating a single mom out in the Philippines. And first I want to say there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There are a lot of great single moms out here. In fact, you're going to run into that quite a bit. Half the dating pool, if not more, is going to be single moms. Now, for a lot of you guys, you're going to say, I don't want anything to do with a single mom. I just want a girl without a kid, and that's fine too. Then a lot of this doesn't apply to you. But the first thing that I want to talk to you about today is if you do date a single mom with a kid, there are some things that you should know that are very important. Number one is you are not allowed as a foreigner to be alone with that child whatsoever. You always have to have a Filipino who is with you, who's related somehow to that child, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, mother, father, whatever, and they have to be over 18 years old. Do not, if you're dating a girl who's a single mom and she has a kid who's 7 years old, let's say, and she goes to work for the day, do not take that kid out to the mall for ice cream alone, okay? That is not allowed as a foreigner. If somebody spots that, they can report it and you can be arrested. Now, chances are it probably would be cleared up, and but you could spend a little time in the jail, and you certainly don't want to go through all that. Working in like charity and maybe helping out with street kids or anything like that, you don't want to do any of that alone. You got to make sure you go through all the proper channels and you have a Filipino with you at all times. Do not be alone with Filipino children whatsoever. That's extremely important. You hear cases all the time in the Philippines where foreigners are being arrested. Most often it's a mistake, and they're trying to do some good, maybe helping out at a charity or helping out at a school, donating supplies or food to street kids, what have you. But it can backfire, and it could be problematic for you. So the best bet is just be extremely careful. Do not be alone with the children, okay? And if you're dating a girl who you suspect is not 18, make them show you an ID. I won't even get into age gaps or anything like that. That's the important thing is if a girl says she's 19 and she looks like she could be younger, don't be embarrassed to ask for an ID, okay? I mean, get an ID and verify. You do not want to be caught up with any of that. It could be a very bad situation, okay? So I won't talk too long on this, but most of these laws are set in place by child trafficking, human trafficking laws, because in the past, the Philippines was certainly a prime target for human trafficking and child trafficking. So there's a lot of new laws that have gone into place. Just protect yourself. If you are going to date a single mom, just make sure it's you and her together with the child. If you go out to the mall or take the kids someplace, don't offer to babysit. Don't ever go off with the kid alone. Just protect yourself, and everything's fine. If you do get very serious and you end up marrying the girl, you could always end up adopting the kid, and you could solve a lot of those problems, okay? Now, if you have your own kid, of course, most of the times it's pretty obvious the kid is mixed and you're not going to have any problems, okay? Again, like everything, if you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and let's have a conversation down below in the comments section. Okay, so moving on to the second thing. So second thing that I wanted to talk about is a lot of people ask me all the time, can you buy a house? Can you buy a condo? Can you buy land here in the Philippines? I'm not going to go really into depth on this subject because it's a little too complicated. I'll try to make it just simple. Condo you can own. Now, in a complex of a condo building, that building has to be 60% owned Filipino and 40% can be foreign owned. Okay? So, yes, you can own a condo. Second, can you own a house? You can own a house in the Philippines. What happens is that you may own a house or a building, but you can't own the land where the structure is built on. Okay, now you may lease and not own Philippine land. I think a lease like that is usually a long-term contract. It must be good for 50 years, and then after the rent is renewable every 25 years. I believe that's the law. Certainly correct me down below in the comments if you think that's not. But the Philippine laws they're always looking to change on whether it should accommodate and expand foreign ownership in the country. Most people are arguing that lifting the restrictions on that would only help result in more investments from overseas. I tend to believe that too, but I will leave that to Filipinos. It's not my business, okay? So, yeah, you can own a house. A Filipino citizen owns the land. So, really, you own nothing because if something happens, they can take over the property because they'll have the majority of ownership on it. So I'm not going to get into a whole lot there, but yeah, you can certainly own a condo. Again, they will let you know. You don't really have to worry about it. They will let you know if it's already at a 60% Filipino ownership and 40% foreigner, in which case you can own the condo, and then the house you can have it built and you can own it. But honestly, you're leasing out the land, so it doesn't really do you a whole lot of good. A lot of people, I just tell them, in my personal opinion, I don't want to own a house here. The reason why is I'm just worried that, a relationship goes bad, and they do go bad sometimes. They're not, it's not always a Cinderella story. And if it does go bad, you're out of a house, basically. So I won't get too much into that. Some people are going to say that they're for it, and some are against it. Personally, I think it's okay just to maybe rent a house or maybe own a condo. You guys go ahead and comment down below and let me know what your opinion is on that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the third thing that I want to talk about today. So my third and final thing that I'm going to talk about is two small things. I'm going to kind of link it together. It kind of ties in with the last subject. The other thing is a lot of foreigners say, I'm going to come out to the Philippines and I'm going to open up this business, or I'll open up that kind of business, and blah, blah, blah. And for a lot of people, there's a lot of foreigners out here that do own businesses and that are successful. So I'm not going to say it's not something that doesn't work. There's a lot that are extremely successful. But again, they have to have the majority in a Filipino's name. And just for me, there's just too many things that could go wrong. So personally, I wouldn't recommend it. But I'll leave that up to you guys whether you would want to do that or not. I prefer to make my money through, online, through the West somehow. Not really money in the Philippines. I really don't want to do business in the Philippines. Just recently, there was a guy, and there's a bunch of cases. All you have to do is Google, but a lot of guys get into trouble. They own a business in the Philippines, and they end up owing money, or somebody owes them money, and they end up getting killed. Or recently in Zamboanga, I'm not sure of the exact city, the guy owned a resort with his wife, and he just got kidnapped. Had to do with business. For me, there's just too many things that can go wrong, and I don't really like to be in the limelight. I mean, yeah, I'm on YouTube, but I'm not in the limelight as far as owning a business and being targeted as a foreigner who's got a lot of money. And that kind of leads me into the next thing too, which is lending money, and borrowing money. That's a couple things in the Philippines you do not want to do. Here's my personal take on it. Again, guys, comment down below. I like to hear your opinions on it. It doesn't mean my opinion is the correct one. I like to hear what you guys have to say, and this is just my own personal opinion. I don't lend money out, period. I don't lend out money. And, you know, if there's somebody who's a Filipino and who's a friend of mine and they need some money and it's not a huge amount, I'm just going to give it to them, and I'm going to say, you know, it's up to you whether you want to pay me back or not. It's not necessary. This is a gift. Don't go into some kind of agreement where you're trying to collect money from them. It could turn out badly. Let's just say that. Filipinos are about saving face, and so they don't like to be confrontational and you going after them to try to collect money, or vice versa. If you borrowed money from a Filipino, it's just not a good recipe for, or it's a recipe for disaster. And it's kind of linked with owning a business here. I just feel like there's just too many things that can go wrong and that have happened. I mean, feel free to Google it and search it. You'll find all kinds of stories of foreigners getting murdered, and I'm not saying it's always. I guess I don't want to get too much into it. I'll let you guys research. It's just my personal opinion. I don't borrow, I don't lend money out here, and I don't want to own any type of business in the Philippines. So, guys, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know your opinions on everything I talked about today. I'm not discouraging anybody from coming out to the Philippines. I love the Philippines. I love the Filipino people. There's just a few things that you should watch out for, and just a few things that you should know. And, you know, other than that, I think it's, in my opinion, much safer than the U.S. was. And I'm assuming Australia and England and places like that, I would say it's very safe as well. You know, just kind of stick to your own business. And everything is great here. So, okay, hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned for future videos. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell notification to stay up to date with the latest content. And again, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Gio in the Philippines. Okay? And I actually post a lot of little video clips and updates of what I'm doing and pictures of places I've been on my Facebook at Gio in the Philippines and Instagram. A lot of that I never makes it over to YouTube. It's just too small to make into a full video, and a lot of times I just feel too lazy to make a whole video out of it. So I'll just, you know, I'll post that stuff on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.